The incidence of Barrett's esophagus is increasing rapidly in Western populations. Barrett's esophagus is displacement of the squamocolumnar junction proximal to the gastroesophageal junction, correlating with the histological finding of intestinal metaplasia. It is the precursor lesion that can progress through the development of dysplasia to esophageal adenocarcinoma. Endoscopic surveillance in Barrett's esophagus helps identify high-grade dysplasia and intramucosal cancer, which can then be treated before they progress to invasive cancer. These high-risk lesions are often subtle and difficult to detect with standard white light endoscopy. This feature has been demonstrated in a recent meta-analysis of resection-based studies, which found occult cancer in an average of 39.9% of patients in whom esophagectomy was performed for Barrett's esophagus that harbored high-grade dysplasia. Therefore, a random biopsy protocol, that is the Seattle protocol, has been adopted as the standard of care despite many limitations, which include extra time and cost to acquire and interpret the many biopsies, and consequently poor adherence by physicians. The Seattle protocol consists of four-quadrant biopsies every 1 or 2 centimeters of the Barrett's segment, and targeted biopsies of any visible mucosal abnormality. With the advent of high-definition endoscopes and advanced imaging techniques such as narrowband imaging and confocal laser endomicroscopy, new categories of mucosal and vascular patterns that correlate closely with histology have been developed. This ability to detect more subtle visible mucosal abnormalities that harbor high-grade dysplasia or intramucosal cancer may enable endoscopists who are skilled in the assessment of Barrett's esophagus to perform targeted rather than random four-quadrant biopsies. In a recent study entitled Added Value of Narrowband Imaging and Confocal Laser Endomicroscopy in Detecting Barrett's Esophagus Neoplasia, Jayasekera et al. Performed a prospective cohort study designed to assess whether targeted biopsies alone are sufficient for the assessment of Barrett's esophagus. The objectives of the study were, first, to assess the yield of high-grade dysplasia and intramucosal cancer in mucosa predicted as being non-dysplastic versus dysplastic by 3 consecutive endoscopic imaging modalities, which included high-definition white light endoscopy, narrow-band imaging, and confocal laser endomicroscopy, and second, to assess the efficacy and cost-benefit of a targeted biopsy protocol using advanced imaging techniques compared with standard Seattle protocol biopsies. Their findings are reported in the December issue of the journal Endoscopy. Here is a summary of their study. Background and study aims. Advances in endoscopic imaging techniques have enabled more accurate identification of subtle mucosal abnormalities. The aim of this study was to assess the accuracy of predicting high-grade dysplasia and intramucosal cancer in mucosa predicted as being non-dysplastic versus dysplastic by high-definition white light endoscopy, narrowband imaging, and confocal laser endomicroscopy. Patients and methods. A cross-sectional study was performed in a tertiary referral setting between February 2010 and September 2011. A total of 50 consecutive patients who were referred to St. Vincent's Hospital for management of dysplastic Barrett's esophagus were included. A prediction of likely histology was made for each mucosal point, four-quadrant every 1 centimeter, and any visible mucosal abnormality, first with high-definition white light endoscopy, followed by narrow-band imaging, and finally confocal laser endomicroscopy. Biopsies were taken at all of these points. Results. A total of 1,190 individual biopsy points were assessed. At histology, 39 biopsy points were found to harbor high-grade dysplasia, and 52 biopsy points harbored intramucosal cancer. For the detection of high-grade dysplasia and intramucosal cancer, the sensitivity, specificity, and accuracy were as follows. High-definition white light endoscopy, 79.1%, 83.1%, and 82.8% respectively. Narrowband imaging, 89.0%, 80.1%, and 81.4% respectively. Confocal laser endomicroscopy, 75.7%, 80.0%, and 79.9% respectively. All mucosal points with intramucosal cancer and all patients with high-grade dysplasia were detected by targeted biopsies guided by high-definition white light endoscopy and narrow-band imaging without the need for random Seattle protocol biopsies. Conclusions. High-definition white light endoscopy in combination with narrow-band imaging is highly accurate in the detection of high-grade dysplasia and intramucosal cancer. Performing targeted biopsies in the surveillance of Barrett's esophagus is possible in expert centers.